Okay guys, welcome back to another chapter video of Reincarnation Coliseum. This is chapter 32 and it appears that both teams are going all out on the first page. Spatial exchange, angelic steps, cross magna are all on display for our viewing pleasure. The power from their abilities are destroying every part of the arena, leaving only smoke and debris in its wake. Coco announces that neither side has landed a hit and wonders how long this will go on. The crowd is starting to get impatient and wants Vivian to take down Mikagami. Time to die, one man shouts. Alice's fan club, now down to only 3 members, look on with faith that their mistress will be victorious. In the next panel, Mikagami is stressing about the situation as he's starting to reach his limit and his head feels like it's going to explode. Paula questions when this back and forth will come to an end as she covers for Vivian with her skill. Alice in the next panel is seen focused on searching for Vivian while telling herself that if she slips up at this crucial moment, then they will lose. Mikagami, Paula, and Alice say in unison that they each are having the hardest time right now. Desmos, looking pleased at the situation, wonders what kind of resolve will Team Mikagami show her when they've reached their limit. G-Dust, however, mumbles under his breath that it would seem all the fighters are moving on instinct, and if that's the case, Vivian will come out on top. Fantasizing about eating some chunky Desmos booty. Panels shift to Vivian feeling the strain on her body from the long battle. With her eye moving at a speed that it could explode in the process, she grits her teeth in excitement as the panels shift back in time. Before I came to the Coliseum, I had nothing in my life, she says. My parents told me to marry my partner, have children, and do housework until the day I died. The husband will decide everything, which felt normal, so I had no complaints. I'm a person who understands my position. My parents and husband are the same exact way. Each of our lives is predetermined. That's what I thought in the beginning, but my village became a battlefield, and before I knew it, I became a slave sent to the enemy country. That's when I was told I'd be fighting in the Coliseum. If you lose, you'll be his slave, says the handler. She frowned at the thought and asked, seriously? Viv entered the arena and struck the man, but he struck back. She loses the match and was violated afterwards. As she wakes up next to her new owner, she starts to realize some things after her loss. The loser getting raped is awesome, yet simple in concept. Hitting someone and getting hit hurts so much, but feels so exciting. A life that's predetermined is amazing after all, she says. With that, Vivian reaches out for the knife on the nightstand next to the bed. With this, I can win and surely be happy to the point of dying, right? Practicing her attacks in the open space, the panels move forward to when she's sitting detained in an office. G-Dust walks in and asks if she's the slave known as Vivian. That's right, Viv-chan with 10 straight losses. Here I am, she responds. You wanted me, so are you the one buying me? I just lost, so I'm a slave again. That guy, on the other hand, will likely be turned into a slave if he loses again, and now I can't even compete. I know that, G-Dust responds. Viv continues by saying that it's already been 10 straight losses, and she'll just lose again if she goes back to him, and questions if grand merchants are dumb to pick people like her. Let's talk about that last match, and what you were aiming for, G-Dust says. Puzzled by his words, G-Dust says that if she were only one step faster, she would have won the match. That's meaningless to say now, though. He then asked her a question. Do you enjoy the Coliseum? Viv thinks about it with a bit of uncertainty, but admits that she does in fact love the Coliseum. Seeing her expression, G-Dust could only snicker and tell her that the guy she lost to will lose his next match. When he does, he'll teach her how to win. But why? And why me, she asked. G-Dust says that he's only interested in those who could be useful to him. Besides, you're pathetic, weak, and have no talent. Irritated by his answer, he continues that her tenacity to keep on fighting while facing death brings her such excitement. Grinning from his words, Viv leans forward on his desk and responds that they're going to get along just fine. This is good, she says. Help me win, Grand Merchant, and I'll do it. As we see the panel switch back to the present day. Standing in the corridor looking down, G-Dust says to himself that the last thing you want in a fight is to be obsessed with something. The biggest issue with that obsession is that it stems from love. Skating along the pavement, Viv thinks about the pain her body's taking and how her blood vessels are on the verge of bursting. If I use this, your field of vision will get even more narrow, she says. Throwing an item in the air, she activates the ice element once again and uses it to hide from Mikigami's vision. Covering both herself and Paula, Mikigami wonders what she's planning now. Based on its size, it's enough to crush them both. Paula's confused by Vivian's move and yells that she never heard about this part in the plan. G-Dust comments that Vivian is basically doing things blindfolded with an expensive gear and wasting its use. Desmos looks intrigued by this new move of Vivian's as she makes her way to the center of the arena. Reaching for her gear, she points it directly above her toward the ice. Coco announces that the true power of Vivian's gear is about to be released, but what will she be using it for? The crowd looks on and even questions what good will it do since it's such a small weapon. Vivian puts her plan to action by calculating the numbers, then activating her gear skill called Fraction Bullet. She fires 4 bullets simultaneously upward in a spiral towards the ice. For just a moment, the audience watches as the bullets impact and break the ice into shards that go flying in all directions. Mikigami and Alice try to adjust to the situation, but Paula and Vivian close in on them from both sides almost immediately. Desmos chimes in that a final decision is about to be made as Alice's grip appears to slip off Mikigami's shoulders. Noticing the situation and believing Alice to have fainted, Vivian readies her weapon once again. She goes on to calculate things differently this time by firing 2 shots from her position with 1 on delay, while Paula uses Windblade from the opposite end. Blown back by the recoil, Vivian mentions that even if Mikigami counters her first shot in Paula's Windblade, her second shot will definitely hit him. The moment arrives as Mikigami activates Spatial Exchange, but something unforeseen occurs. Both of Vivian's bullets connect while the Windblade gets deflected. Confused about why he did that, Vivian looks at Paula and realizes she's been incapacitated. Cursing his name, she didn't think he would throw away his defenses just to target her. With Alice supposedly incapacitated as well and falling to her death, a thought crossed Vivian's mind. Mikigami is a copy skill user and he only countered 1 of their attacks. The 1 second she took to look at Paula was just enough for Alice to go forward with her own plan as she reappears above her. Realizing that she's out of options, Vivian shows regret as Alice uses Spatial Exchange to finish her off. Crowd is stunned as Alice gracefully descends to the arena floor. At that moment, she raises her fist high as Coco announces her the winner. With the match finally over, she loudly declares to be the best and strongest as chapter 32 comes to an end. Okay, so we know this chapter or the next one was gonna tie this whole tag battle up anyway. I'm glad they did it this chapter and didn't wait because you can only stretch it out for so much. And with Paula's backstory already done and her motivations and all that stuff figured out, we get Vivian's and her motivations and what she's all about. I don't think she actually had a kid or anything like that. I think she was just talking about like how her life was gonna be by taking the route that her parents wanted her to take, because she really didn't say anything else about like her husband and everything else based on the translation. She was just like, you know, my parents told me that this is how my life's gonna lead. I'm gonna get a husband, I'm gonna raise some kids, I'm gonna do housework, and I'm just gonna do all this stuff until the day I die. And that was just her life, and she was just like, okay, I'll accept it. But then she went to the Coliseum and saw that there's a different life that's just as predetermined, and she's like, you know what, I can get this. Like, if I'm a winner, I get to do everything I want to do. And she seems more like a fighter, if anything, because I think that's really what she was getting at. She wants to be involved in the Coliseum the most. She's on 10 wins in a row, and now she's fighting Mikigami and lost. So there's that. What do I expect after this? Well, I'm sure Paul is going to be destroyed mentally because now she can't sleep with G-Dust. I mean, I don't even know why she would want to sleep with that ugly ass goblin anyway, but she's going to be crushed by that. Hopefully it doesn't do too much to her mental. Vivian, on the other hand, I think she's going to be just fine. I feel like she would get along with Marl pretty good. I'm not saying like Vivian's dumb whatsoever. Marl's kind of like a little bit lower on the intelligence level, but I love her to death. I don't think too much is going to happen when she gets involved. We're going to get some good artwork. As far as the sex session goes, I don't know how tame it's going to be. And I say tame because, you know, lately things have been getting pushed down to where it's like, all right, it's not crazy sex. Like, Chris was like the one I thought would go all over the place, but we got shadow silhouettes, and I'm like, man, compared to like Suzu and Maro and Mary and Alice and Fine, like they could have did a little bit better with Chris. That felt a little lazy. But then again, it's a lot to actually do with Chris. You know what I'm saying? But okay, going forward, what's gonna happen now? Everyone keeps talking about the Dark Elves or elves in general. Like that's probably gonna happen with the Fine battle. I'm looking forward to the Fine battle. I think it's gonna be amazing as far as that goes. If you guys want to talk about like Reincarnation Coliseum on the channel, I could definitely do like live streams. If you're up for it, we can talk about all that stuff and, you know, just say what we're gonna say. Just have like a meeting before the chapter like comes out, that type of deal. You know what I mean? Like the day before the chapters come out, we can like talk about it and theorize and all that stuff. But that's just my thought on the matter. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it. It took a while. It was a lot to actually like really put together, and a lot of panels and stuff I had to like put on my video. It took a lot. It took a lot out of me. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow on socials, and I'll see you next time. Holla at your boy. I'm out of here.